So good morning, everyone. You can hear me well? Yes. Not so. So I try to speak as loud as possible. So my name is Claudia Nagel. I am co-founder and managing director for finance, operations, and technology of KIWI.Ki. Our product is Kiwi. We are opening doors. And I want to talk to you today about opening doors for smarter cities. So what will make cities smarter? That's the question. We've seen in the past that, of course, the internet has made cities a bit smarter already. We all use navigation systems to avoid traffic jams. Of course, that's smarter than we were before. Today, that was already mentioned, the Internet of Things is starting off. And we see some first-level applications. But we as a company believe, and we are not alone in that space, that the future is still to come of the Internet of Things. And Cisco, for example, is relating to that as the Internet of Everything. So in the future, we envision that everything is connected in a city. So how should that work? I guess that most of you know how IoT works. So basically, you take a couple of sensors, you connect them to a hub, so you have a platform. You design some applications around it, and then you start to control the sensors and do something with that. In the past, and until now, many of those applications were centered around the smartphone use. So I don't know how many of you already have sensors, smart home sensors at home to do something with the light or the heating or other nice things. So usually you use your smartphone to do something with those sensors, interact with them. We believe that in the future, especially in city environments, we will still continue to use smartphones. However, they will lose a bit of their importance. There will be growing sensor networks that interact with each other, and there will be platforms growing up that do stuff without any interaction of human beings through applications. So why are we just at the beginning of all that? And we know there are cities that are much more advanced, as for example, Barcelona. They do some stuff in the garbage management, or in the US there are some cities that start off with smart city applications. But somehow, so far, there is not a big market for that. And we ask ourselves very often, because we are in the space, why is that? And we think there are 5 success criteria for companies to actually be successful and launch a smart city application. And I will present those to you on the example of Kiwi, so what we're doing. From our perspective, those 5 success factors are listed here, so I will start. The first thing, obviously, is to have a use case. We truly believe without a use case, you can build nice communication networks, but what do you do after that? That's the question. That's the question in many cities that start to build those communication networks now for 868 megahertz infrastructures. So we started by actually having a use case. And a use case should be very simple. Our use case is very simple. So you want to improve something that was more complicated before and gets simpler. Kiwi is opening doors. So what we do, we install a small sensor. It's a reading device in each door panel on every house on the main entrance door. And then the user gets a small transponder to enter those houses. And this transponder can be used on many different doors. And the difference is to the normal key. First of all, you don't have to take it out anymore. So it's hands-free. It's a great user experience because you don't have to put your bags down. You can make things like timed access. You can have many doors. That's what I said. And it's connected to a centralized platform, so you can invite your friends. And you can also, for example, if you lose your transponder, disable it over the internet right away. So that's a very simple use case we started off with. And the next ingredient then is the business model innovation. So what do we change? Probably most of you know that in many European cities, in Berlin that's very much the case, but also Spain has similar problems, Poland has similar problems, Italy has similar problems. Letterboxes and also very often garbage bins are inside the houses, behind the first locked door. So, service providers. need to go through those doors every single day. And very often they have those massive keychains that they carry around that need management. They're very costly. And by building our platform, we connect all the doors in the city area. And at the end of that, those service providers can access every single house using our small transponder. So it's very simple. And for them, it's a massive improvement. However, it's not enough to have one customer group because, as you can imagine, it's not this inexpensive that the garbage removal companies, which operate on very low margins, would be able to pay that by themselves. So what we do, we look at all the groups that would like the target groups that would like to use our service to enter into doors more simply and comfortably. And we identified 3 different groups there. It's very obvious. It's first of all the residents, so people that live in the house. They like to use KIWI because of the comfort. So it's especially targeted for young families and older people that have eye problems or key handling problems. Then we have the service industry that I already talked about, that have efficiency gains and they get much more flexible in their tour planning, and we also enable new business models there. For example, imagine Zalando wants to enter into direct delivery of their products for certain appliances. And you could, for example, you need a present for next morning, a book that you want to give to a colleague. You order that before 10 o'clock in the evening, and in the morning at 6, it's in front of your apartment door. It just sits there as a packet. That, of course, is only possible if the delivery person is able to get through the door and put the stuff in front of your apartment. And that's something we enable. And then there's also, for example, rescue services. That's very interesting. In Berlin, the Berlin Feuerwehr, so the first aid rescue service, is on average they're at the door in less than 8 minutes, always, in 98% of the cases. They're at the door in less than 8 minutes. However, then they stand in front of the door for 1 minute and ring the bell, 1 minute or 2 minutes. And the person in need, of course, for them, that's precious time. So getting through the door very fast is also very often important. And then there's the real estate industry, of course. They have cost savings because they don't need to handle those keys. The key themselves, they cost money, but also at the end, the handling of the picking up, the delivery is very expensive. So we bring all those parties together to the table, and we offer access as a service. So we build the infrastructure, and each of those customers pays a small amount, a monthly amount, for using our service on the platform, and that's how we, how we grow. The third thing, what we found was important, is rapid prototyping, because it's very difficult to design the perfect. We developed our own hardware, design the perfect hardware from the start. So we are on the market close to 2 years now with our product. We already have the 5th generation of our sensors out there working. And of course, that means we cannot always replace all of them when we have a new generation. So it all needs to interact. The installed base needs to interact with the newer models, and that's kind of challenging, but also very interesting and important for the industry to come. And then, secondly, that's what I talked about before. It's not, of course, we have a smartphone application to interact with our platform, but it's not all about the smartphone. So we need more levels of interaction. Like, for example, if you look from the owner's perspective of the house, they have many houses, sometimes a few thousand. They need to have an administrative panel that's easy to use with a nice logic to actually find the door they are looking for within 10 seconds. That's about rapid prototyping. So security and privacy is very important in smart city applications. The first question we always get is, are you secure? Are you secure at all? Are you not less secure than the traditional key? Is it not easy to hack into your system and then I can open every door with one click, which is like the nightmare. So security is our focus. We work with experts in this field, and our system was designed by the hacker community, actually. We ask them, how would you build a system that's not so easy to hack? And then, of course, we don't do any tracking, any logging, no user profiles, because nobody wants to see on a page where he actually was at 8 in the morning. And the last thing, what we found was collaboration and open infrastructure. Because if we talk about cities, you can imagine there are many stakeholders, and it's very complicated to actually change something on a city scale, the behavior of all those parties involved. And what we did, we teamed up with some of the big players. Those are, for example, in Germany, it's obviously Deutsche Post, who need access to all the houses. Then it's the local garbage removal companies. We have with Conrad Electronic, a German-wide network of installers that can help us grow very fast. Deutsche Telekom, of course, is helping on sales and connectivity. Allianz, as a big insurance company, helps on the trust base with our users. And we have Schneider Electric. They're one of the largest providers of ball panel systems with Rito, and we partner up on sales with them. So we put all those ingredients together, and now if you take a large city like Berlin, we already have connected more than 27,000 apartments to our infrastructure. And in the future, in a few years, you can imagine every single house, every entrance doors having our system installed. And then we come to a mesh network of communication on 868 megahertz, where you can do a lot of very nice things besides the pure entry to the door. And to lay out what those things could be, here are some examples. So in the future, we can think about having parking lot sensors in the cubes aligned on all the streets, and somebody who actually informs you about when a parking place is still empty, and you can reserve it right away. We're talking about glass breaking sensors and waiting houses for buses and stuff, or city light sensors. And all these things need the connectivity, and we are able to connect those to our network. So our vision is starting at the door, every single door of all the apartment houses in a huge city, to really build this communication infrastructure that then enables other smart city applications. But it's through an actual use case that we believe that's achievable and not on a standalone basis. Now, so that's all from my side.